Now, let me start off by saying this. I was a big fan of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and to this day, I see why others appreciate this series, mostly because of the cynical writing from Greg Heffley, the main protagonist of the books, as well as the satire comedy. And don't forget that there are many memorable lines from these books, which you all know what I'm referring to right here. Okay, but how did I get into this series? Well, it all started back in Christmas of 2010. My presents consisted of Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii, Mario Party DS, The Simpsons Annual 2011, this Doctor Who DS game that I never managed to complete, and a box set of the first 4 Wimpy Kid books. I really wasn't into it at first, but in the following year, my family and I went to Bangor to visit my grandparents. On the way, I brought some Diary of a Wimpy Kid books with me. I read a bit of the pages and there wasn't much interest to me. But, as me and my dad visited a bookshop, I found this book. A book about a Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. Yeah, sure, I may have already known about it since there was a page about the movie on Wikipedia. Not only did it include the first movie, but the sequel, Roderick Rules, which mind you was in cinemas around the time, and I never bothered to see it. Suddenly, I got into it big time. Thanks to the Wimpy Kid movie diary, I've learned about how the franchise was made, from how the author Jeff Kinney came up with ideas about the stories of the books, to his first book being pitched to a movie. And it wouldn't be until December of that year when I got the DVD of the first movie, as well as the 6th book, Cabin Fever. It wouldn't be until next Christmas when my brother got DVDs of the sequels, and he too became a fan. Plus, I saw that every year a new book comes out. Some of them are enjoyable, some of them are... and some of them are... oh boy. I can see why fans hated it. But likewise, I've made lots of drawings as a kid. Some of them look neat, while some of them... So let's begin, shall we? So first off, there's this folder containing some pictures of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, while the rest are just 80% Captain Underpants. Which I'll do it for a future episode, don't worry. The first one here has a lot of things. We have Greg shooting down a McDonald's sign, Rowley burning a Happy Meal with a cigarette, Manny calling the police to arrest the Whirly Street Kids, who you may know as rivals to Greg and Rowley, a fat Roderick, God, was I a fetish artist? And Heather, Holly's sister, getting pregnancy surgery. Okay, some of them are bizarre and have no context. Why do Greg and Rowley hate McDonald's? How can Manny speak in full sentences when he's only 3? Or 5 to 8 in most books nowadays. How did Roderick get fat? And who got Heather pregnant? By the way, it's nice to see that I drew some Sesame Street characters, despite the fact that I'm not that much of a fan nowadays. Next, we have a crossover with Captain Underpants, where Greg and Captain Underpants are angry at each other, with Roderick, George and Harold looking confused, and Rowley and Manny with Greg glaring down at the Captain Underpants cast. And it's obvious to see Greg's rage face here. And this one is... something. We've got a McDonald's sign on fire as well as the food. Whatever this is, Greg half naked in the snow, possibly hinting cabin fever, an unfinished picture of the first page from the first book with a different looking bully, and Greg with half of his body as a pig, and Rowley with a cow. This is pretty messed up, not gonna lie. And I still have no idea why Greg and Rowley are burning and destroying McDonald's. Oh yeah, and please ignore that. Up next, we have some stuff redrawn from the third book, The Last Straw. along with a McDonald's sign and a Happy Meal. And boy, I could tell you I was obsessed with it back then. Which leads us to the next drawing, where Greg is trying to order a Happy Meal and later on takes the McDonald's sign down. What's up with him hating on McDonald's? I get that he's arrogant and snobby, but he would never go this far. Also, we have a Happy Meal mascot with a diary, possibly belonging to Greg. And you can tell this was made years before there was a promotion of it back in 2016. So here we have another drawing with McDonald's in it. Ugh, how many of them have I drawn? We have Greg, after sliding down a slide, head first, looking unimpressed at the place playground, Manny next to a Happy Meal, Rowley eyeing some fries, Chirag seeing a broken sign of a restaurant, and Frank, Greg's father, working at a drive-thru. Somehow. Next to this, we have Creighton the Cretin, a comic character created by Greg, a bull asking a dolphin if he's seen Gregory, which is Greg's actual name, and a Zooey Mama strip. Then we have this picture featuring some drawings that I've did from the Wimpy Kid movie diary, including the ones from some scripts. Robert Capron, the actor who played Rowley in the first 3 movies, had his character being influenced by James Bond, as well as this one drawn by Robert, which I kid you not, was probably art theft. Or not. But it's good to see that I drew the first time Greg Heffley was made, and that there was a reverse roll of the cover of Roderick Rules. And then there's this. Another crossover with Captain Underpants, where the characters have been fused with the Wimpy Kid characters, like Captain Underpants and Greg becoming this, Harold and Roderick with Spice coming out of Harold's bad haircut, George and Manny looking like that. The rest are some villains fused with each other. And don't forget Sulu and Sweetie's fusion. And that's kinda it. Yeah, unlike the last 2 I've talked about, there were a few that I've drawn. I mean, there weren't a ton of drawings that I made. But anyway, from what I've heard, the books have gone downhill since, with some people claiming it was the 11th book, Double Down, that was starting to decline in terms of writing and lack of character development, or the 9th book, The Long Haul, which introduced a pig that everyone didn't like. But to me, I can agree to some people, while others I don't mind at all. Unlike the 4th movie, that is. But anyway, let's hope for the upcoming animated movie on Disney Plus to be good. Now then, the next one is an interesting choice. It's a well-known online game that me and my sister played back in the day, before it was shut down in 2017. I've also played 2 games of it, one on the DS and the other on the Wii. I was a huge fan of it, and like Sonic, made tons and tons of drawings of it. Not to mention, I've made an account of it on the remade game. You'll see what it is.